your testosterone status is highly sensitive to relationship dynamics such that you can get a wonderful boost in testosterone from a successful, exciting, healthy romantic relationship, and dysfunctional relationship dynamics can crush your testosterone really easily. It is time for part 12 in the Breather Show series on how to optimize testosterone naturally. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this long series. I hope it's been really valuable. Recapping as quickly as possible. Part 1, we talked about sleep, rest, recovery, and downtime. Great place to start. Parts 2, 3, and 4 were about diet, ditching processed foods, emphasizing nutrient-dense foods. Then we got into moving more frequently in everyday life, performing brief explosive efforts, avoiding overly stressful workouts, protecting yourself, now to part 8, from environmental endocrine disruptors. Then we talked about supplements in part 9. Part 10, we talked about some biohacking strategies. And part 11, we talked about your career pursuits, your lifestyle, and pursuing your inspired purpose. And that brings us to part 12. And now we're going to get into the love relationship, which can make or break your testosterone status like nothing else. The fantastic book, Beyond Mars and Venus, by John Gray, the #1 best-selling relationship author of all time. One of my favorite podcast guests, life-changing podcasts. He's been on 4 times. I had a summary show that went for an hour with all his relationship assignments, and we're going to review those briefly because they really are life-changing. And he cites a lot of research in the book that your testosterone status is highly sensitive to relationship dynamics such that you can get a wonderful boost in testosterone from a successful, exciting, healthy romantic relationship, and dysfunctional relationship dynamics can crush your testosterone really easily. So it's the make or break scene. And of course, in this series talking about natural testosterone optimization, it's probably largely appealing to the male, but I should put in a plug here for those females listening with interest. Testosterone status is critically important for the female as well, for sex drive, for focus, for peak performance, recovery. Yes, you need 20 times less than the male to be optimized, but it's still super important, and you can throw off your hormone balance, the important levels of estrogen and testosterone, from dysfunctional relationship dynamics as well. And a low estrogen state is, as we have often heard when we're talking about menopause and premenopause, cranky, bitchy, all those terms that have been used to describe a female in out of balance in testosterone, in estrogen, excuse me. And for the male, out of balance in testosterone, interestingly, it's not the guy going with extreme anger and losing his temper and yelling and being the alpha male. That is a male with healthy testosterone status. But when you have diminished testosterone, that's when you are more likely to lose your temper, behave in a dysfunctional manner in society. So that's a really interesting nuance there that John Gray, his #1 advice to nurture healthy testosterone level is to be a kung fu master in life, to remain calm, cool, and collected at all times, especially in times of stress, and especially in interactions with your romantic partner. So his strong advice, looking at me right through the screen, looking in my eyes, changing my life, he says, males, you are not to speak when you are experiencing a negative emotional charge. Instead, you want to go off and do testosterone boosting activities. He calls it going to your cave, the famous insights that came from his first book that was the sensation, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Men need to retreat to their cave to cool off, to regulate their emotions rather than speak and engage. And when you get into it with your romantic partner, when you are lit up, it always or almost always gets worse. And I have a strong recommendation to really reflect on this and listen. And instead of engaging when you're lit up, go off and calm yourself. And when you do testosterone boosting activities, you come back more whole, more balanced, and better to address a situation without those emotional fireworks. If you engage, you will further deplete your testosterone and go out of balance because you do not get fulfillment from long drawn out arguments. I don't know anybody who can raise their hand and say, yeah, I really love getting into it with my wife about once a week or so. We'll argue for about 30 minutes and we yell and scream at each other. And then afterwards we feel better. Don't think so, people. And it can be so destructive to a relationship to fall into these patterns. So testosterone boosting activities can range from playing video games, watching a sporting event on television, going into the garage and tinkering with your motorcycle or another hobby type project, or of course, doing a vigorous workout. So anything to get you away and disengage from the situation and allow your testosterone to rebuild naturally. So that's in the John Gray list of essential assignments for the male. It is to remain calm, cool, and collected. Don't engage. Don't speak with a negative emotional charge. And then the second one is to indulge your female partner. And again, we have those qualifications, but he's talking mainly in the more familiar male-female romantic relationship, but the same dynamics apply to other relationships too. So he says, indulge your female partner in what he calls Venus talks. So the Venus energy is coming out, and females have a strong need to vent to rebalance their hormones after a busy, stressful day. And the reason is because we are asking everything of the modern female to be all things to all people, to compete with intensity in the competitive workplace and the career realm, and also honor her deepest biological drive to be the nurturer caretaker. So it's easy to become frazzled and off balance when we're trying to nurture our female parts as well as go and get a promotion and do the deal when we're in the competitive workplace. So when the female needs to vent, what the male assignment is to just indulge the female in her conversation. Do not interrupt. Do not offer advice. Do not offer solutions. Guess what the male's deepest biological drive is? That's right, to be the hero in the story and to solve all problems and give fantastic, sage advice to the female who's in distress. And that's when you start to butt heads and the conversations are not productive. So the male has to resist his deepest biological drive in support of what the female needs at that time, which is just to vent. Please, and Mia Moore's great at this. She will actually correct me on the spot saying, you know what, I'm not really looking for advice right now. I just want you to listen. And if I don't have the cue myself coming to the table with my best game, I get very quickly recalibrated to being able to listen, nod my head, and use these key phrases that John Gray recommends, such as, quote, tell me more. It's pure magic when you are indulging a Venus talk with your female partner. And then at a certain point, when you start to feel drained, irritated, or beyond your capacity to continue to pay attention to a venting conversation, you are allowed to say the graceful culminating phrase of, I hear you. And when you say, I hear you, that is a cue for the female to wrap it up, that she's done a great job with her venting of 5, 7, or 10 minutes. And the male says, I hear you. Thank you. Hopefully that will be something that the male and female can both remember and have productive Venus talks. Now we go to the female essential relationship assignments. And again, we're talking about optimizing testosterone naturally for the male. You want your female to listen in at this point as you honor the essential male relationship assignments, right? It's not like, hey, listen to this, you're doing this wrong. You got to bring your A game. You got to not speak with a negative emotional charge. You got to indulge Venus talks. Then we have some opening here for the female to optimize her role in the relationship. And the female assignment number 1 is to express everything as a preference rather than a complaint or a nitpick. Because again, the man's deepest biological drive is he wants to be the hero of the story. He wants to be the protector. One of the favorite male quotes, according to John Gray, is, I got this. I'll take care of it, right? He wants to just go off, doesn't need any supervision. He'll just take care of the floppy rain gutter and everything will be well. The male's got this. So express everything as a preference rather than a complaint. And if you do have an issue to bring up, preface your statement with, it's not a big deal, but can you pick up the clothes and put them in the hamper instead of throw them all over the house? Or it's not a big deal, but when we were at the party and you were talking over there in the corner to Denise for a long time, I would prefer that you spend time closer to me when we're at social engagements. A much better possibility for behavior change and harmony in the relationship versus what the hell were you flirting with Denise for so long? Get it? So express everything as a preference. Preface the issues you need to discuss with it's no big deal. Those are the essential female relationship assignments. And for the male, keep your composure. Do you know what the biggest danger the modern female faces is? Because we no longer face predator danger at the camp or starvation or things that we had in our primal times. Today, the female's biggest danger is the anger and the emotional or even physical abuse from her male romantic partner. That's her biggest danger that she faces. So you cannot lose your cool in your love relationship. You remain calm, cool, and collected at all times and indulge in Venus talks. There you go, males and females. And all hormone status will be optimized and will live happily ever after. That was part 12, relationship tips from John Gray. And in 13, I'm going to provide more relationship tips because it's such an important component of hormone optimization. Thanks for listening, watching.